He forged checks worth $2.5 million, impersonated a pilot, a doctor, and a lawyer, all before his 21st birthday. Then the FBI caught him, put him in prison, and hired him to catch other criminals. This is the story of Frank Abagnale Jr., the boy who conned the world and got paid to do it again. And the wildest part? We made a movie celebrating him. Bronx, New York, 1948. A French-American household where appearances mattered and respectability was everything. But one kid, Frank Abagnale Jr., watched his world crumble.
Dad, why are they taking the house?
It's okay, son. We'll figure it out. By age 16, his father's business collapsed. His parents divorced. His mother moved away. His father couldn't pay taxes. Frank stood alone at 16, with nothing but a suit and a desperate need to fix everything.
I'll make it right, Dad. I promise.
Most teens would have gotten a part-time job. Frank, he picked up the phone. First con, a gas station.
Can I fill up on credit? My father owns the station down the road. He'll pay you tomorrow.
The owner nodded. Frank drove away, never came back. $50, not much, but it worked. Next, a hotel.
I'm with my father on business. He's checking in. Can I use the phone?
He called a random number, pretended to be his father, charged the room. By week's end, he'd scammed his way across New York, but Frank wanted bigger. He needed to disappear, so he became someone else. Enter the Pan Am uniform. A pilot's salary, $30,000 a year. In 1964, that was serious money. But Frank didn't want the money, he wanted the trust. He called Pan Am.
Hi, I'm a student doing a research project. Can you tell me about your pilot training program?
They told him everything: uniform suppliers, pilot protocols, employee IDs. Frank took notes, then he made calls.
Hello, Pan Am personnel? This is Frank Williams from HR. We've lost some uniform orders. Can you confirm the supplier details?
He got the codes, he forged the ID, he bought the uniform. And just like that, Frank Abagnale Jr. became First Officer Frank Williams of Pan American Airways. First flight, Miami to New York. The captain shook his hand.
Welcome aboard, son. How old are you?
19, sir. Just got my wings.
You're one of the youngest. Proud moment.
Frank smiled, deadheading on planes, cashing fake payroll checks, hotels, restaurants, rental cars, all on the company dime. He flew free to 26 countries, stayed in luxury hotels, dined at expensive restaurants, all before breakfast. But Frank wasn't satisfied. He wanted more. Next identity, a pediatrician, Louisiana, 1966. Frank walked into a hospital.
I'm Dr. Frank Connors. I'm covering for Dr. Reynolds while he's on leave.
The administrator nodded. Your credentials?
In the mail. I started last week at the other facility.
Can you handle the residency?
I've done this before.
Frank had never been to medical school, never treated a patient, but he studied, he learned the jargon, he supervised real residents. For 11 months, Dr. Connors oversaw interns, made rounds, and signed documents. One nurse asked, "Doctor, this prescription seems unusual." Frank smiled. "Trust me, I've done this 1,000 times." She nodded. He walked away. Next identity, a lawyer. Louisiana bar exam, 1967. Frank studied for 2 weeks, crammed law books, memorized procedures, walked into the exam hall. He passed. Not because he knew the law, because he knew how to cheat the system. He became an attorney in the Louisiana State Attorney's Office. For 8 months, Frank Williams handled cases, gave legal advice, and signed documents. A colleague asked, "How did you pass the bar so fast?" Frank shrugged. "I studied hard." But underneath it all, the checks kept coming. Frank had discovered the perfect crime, check fraud. He'd open an account with a small deposit, order custom checks with fake names, write checks for thousands, cash them before the bank noticed, close the account, disappear. He created identities like costumes: Robert Monjo, Frank Williams, Robert Connors. Each name a new life, each check a new adventure. By 1969, Frank had cashed over $2.5 million in fraudulent checks across 26 countries. He was 21 years old. But Frank wasn't just stealing money, he was stealing trust. Banks trusted the uniform, hospitals trusted the credentials, courts trusted the bar card. And Frank, he trusted nothing but his own ability to lie. The method, confidence over complexity. Frank didn't use high-tech gadgets, he used psychology. He'd walk into a bank, dressed in a tailored suit, carrying a leather briefcase. "Good morning, I'm with Pan Am. I need to cash this payroll check. It's urgent, I'm catching a flight in 2 hours." The teller sees the uniform, the confidence, the urgency. She cashes it. Frank didn't forge signatures perfectly, he forged confidence perfectly. He studied human nature. People don't verify what they trust what looks authoritative. A uniform, a title, a confident voice, that's all it took. But while Frank flew higher, the net was tightening. The chase began. Entered Joseph Shea, an FBI agent specializing in fraud. Shea didn't see a genius, he saw a pattern. Fake checks, multiple identities, Pan Am uniforms. He pulled files, cross-referenced complaints, built a timeline. "This kid's good," Shea said, "but he's sloppy. He leaves trails." Frank was living in New York, cashing checks, flying free, but Shea was watching. The FBI contacted Pan Am. "We have a fraud case. Someone's impersonating your pilots." Pan Am checked their records. "We don't have a Frank Williams on payroll." Shea smiled. "Got him." But Frank was already gone. He'd moved to Miami, then Atlanta, then New Orleans. Each time a new identity, each time a bigger check. The FBI put him on their 10 most wanted list. Frank was 20 years old. He read about it in the newspaper, smiled, kept going. The excess. Frank wasn't just surviving, he was thriving. He stayed in the finest hotels, the Waldorf in New York, the Fontainebleau in Miami. He dined at expensive restaurants, ordered champagne, never looked at the bill. He bought custom suits, leather shoes, silk ties. He dated beautiful women, told them he was a pilot, a doctor, a lawyer. They believed him. Why wouldn't they? He looked the part, he acted the part. Frank had become the role, but underneath he was alone. He called his father sometimes. "Dad, I'm doing okay. I fixed things." "Son, where are you?" "I'm working. I'm successful." "Come home." "I can't. Not yet." Frank was running from more than the FBI. He was running from the boy who couldn't save his family. Every check he cashed was proof he could survive. Every identity was proof he could be someone. But the higher he flew, the harder the fall would be. The cracks. By late 1969, Frank's luck was running out. He'd gotten careless. Same signatures, same patterns, same hotels. The FBI was closing in. Shea tracked him to Miami, then Atlanta, then New Orleans. Frank sensed it. He changed hotels more often, used different names, avoided Pan Am flights, but he couldn't stop. The con was all he had. In December 1969, Frank was in Montpellier, France, cashing checks, living large. He didn't know that Interpol had been alerted. He didn't know that French police were watching. He walked into a bank, dressed in his suit, carrying his briefcase, confident as always. The teller studied the check. "One moment, please." She called the manager. The manager called the police. Frank sensed danger. He turned to leave. Too late. French police surrounded him. Hands up. Frank raised his hands. At 21 years old, the boy who conned the world was caught. The fall. Frank was extradited to France, tried, convicted, sentenced to 1 year in Perpignan prison, then Sweden, 6 months, then the United States, 12 years. Frank served 5 years in total. Federal prisons, solitary confinement. The boy who flew free was caged. But in prison, Frank did something unexpected. He helped the FBI. They came to him. "We know how you did it. Teach us." Frank studied check fraud, forgery, document security. He wrote manuals, trained agents. The con artist became the consultant. In 1974, Frank was released. Condition, he work with the FBI. He did. For decades, Frank